All right, hey you guys, it's going to be a long stream today because we are back. And now we're going to talk about Soulbound reward cards. I've been wanting to talk about them again ever since Matt announced the 18X on the Soulbound reward cards. And we know a little bit more about what's going to happen. We know they're going to be printed for another 5 or 6 months or so before the next set of Soulbound reward cards comes out. So that being said, I wanted to do a little bit of a talk about Soulbound reward cards. Let's figure out how I can actually get them back here. Well, what's going on? I'm in the market. Hold on a second, guys. Woo! It's going to be a long night. Okay. Here we go. So, owned Soulbound. So, here's the Chaos Legion Soulbound reward cards. And these have been in print now for just over a year, or just about a year at this point in time. And initially, when they first came out, I made a little bit of a video on things I love. Oh, the bot's probably going to start to play here. Things I love about Soulbound reward cards. And now I want to kind of revamp that. I'm going to give you 5 things I love about Soulbound reward cards, but also 5 things I dislike about Soulbound reward cards. And I used my awesome little, my Crayola crayon thing here to write this up on one of my kids' scrap pieces of paper. So I'll do a little bit of a read off here on the things I like and the things I dislike about Soulbound reward cards right now. So, start off with a like. And this is a weird one, okay? What I love about Soulbound reward cards, and you guys are gonna be like, that's really strange, is the RNG element. I love the fact that you don't know what you're going to get when you get a Soulbound reward cards. There's this moment when you get a chest and you click on the chest and you see that chest start to rumble. There's that moment, kind of like Schrodinger's cat, when the cat is both alive and dead at the same time, when that chest is both an Ava and an Iziar at the same time. And I love that RNG moment when you don't know what it actually is, and then you're like, yes, it's an Iziar, or no, it's an Ava. And you get to like really enjoy the moment. So that's one of the things that I love about Soulbound reward cards is the RNG. But one of the things I dislike about the Soulbound reward cards is also the RNG. So I both like and I dislike the RNG. Bet you never saw that one coming. I love the RNG when it's in my favor, but when I've been looking at things like, you guys who follow my streams know how long I've been trying to get myself this last Usit, my Usit number 6, so I can finally go ahead and give this Usit heal, because I lose a lot of Magic only matches because he doesn't have heal. You guys know how long I've been waiting for this Usit, and instead of getting the Usit I need, I'll be rewarded with yet another Soriel of the Bale. So while I love the RNG component, I also curse and despise the RNG moment, because the RNG giveth, and the RNG it taketh away. So another one of the things I love about Soulbound reward cards, all right, is actually, yep, the fizz, you know it, is I love the engagement that the Soulbound reward cards get. And sure, I mean, if I were to be botting or something like that, you also get RNG, you also get Soulbound reward cards, but you still have to play. And there's a promise that was made that the Soulbound reward cards could only be earned through play. And that keeps me coming back every single day, because I want to make sure that I earn my chests, to make sure that I go and I get my reward cards and end up being able to continue to earn them, build up my collection, try and get this Musa Celine, the last 2 I need to get this guy up to like the 4th star. And unless I'm earning reward chests, and unless I'm earning these Soulbound reward cards, I'm not going to be able to progress my account up to the point where I need them. So having these Soulbound reward cards, it actually keeps me engaged with the game, since the only way that I can earn them is by playing. I can't just buy dust from a store, right, and then use that dust to get whatever I want. No, the only way I can get these is by playing daily, earning my chests, and that keeps me engaged. It keeps me coming back. It keeps me here every single day grinding out. And like I said, whether it's through a bot or whether it's through playing manually, it keeps me here in Splinterlands looking at these rewards, engaging with the community, engaging with the game itself. Now, as I kind of alluded to, one of the things that I dislike about Soulbound cards is the amount of time that it is taking between each release of the Soulbound card sets. The fact that we're going to be going another 6 months with these same Soulbound cards when there's a lot of people who've already got the max, like for the most part, my commons are getting up there, except for the bad RNG, right? But my commons are all like level 9, level 10 with a good number of excess. Like I've got, for instance, 89 extra coastal centuries right now, but there are people who have like hundreds and hundreds of extras of pretty much every single card. So the amount of time that it's taking for the next set of reward cards to come out is on my dislike list. And I also feel that it doesn't keep it coherent with what's actually happening in the game itself. These Chaos Legion rewards, right, are from Chaos Legion. Meanwhile, the set that's actually out right now is Rebellion. So in my mind, when a new set comes out, or shortly after a new set comes out, that's also when we should have the new series of reward cards coming out. And by doing that, you keep everything nice and consistent. You've got Chaos Legion rewards with Chaos Legion. You got Rebellion rewards with Rebellion. And you also don't run into a position which, if the goal is to release a new set once every year, if these Chaos Legion rewards here were to go ahead and they were to continue to be printed for another 6 months, well, that takes us only 6 months away from rotation of Chaos Legion, and that means that Chaos Legion will rotate out of Modern, and that means that there'll be a lot less playability for these cards, because you'll only, once they're unlocked or once they go out of print, only be able to use them for another 6 months in Modern. Whereas if they kind of came in at the same time as the core set or shortly after, it'll leave you with a lot more time to be able to actually use these cards. So if the intention is one new set every year, then we're going to run into a problem with, like, for instance, these Chaos Reward cards of the set finally goes out of print, the set's finally able to be unlocked, and then you can only use them in Modern, at least in this case, for another few months before they completely rotate out of Modern, which wouldn't be the case if they were released on a more consistent basis along with the core sets themselves. Another thing that I love about Soulbound reward cards, because we're going to kind of go back and forth through one thing I love, one thing I kind of hate, all right? And yes, indeed, DeFizz, that does make the 18x unlock very silly if you're only going to be able to play them for 6 months after they're unlocked, or even 5 months after they're unlocked, because if there's 6 months to go and we're near the end of January, I mean, that could take us to only having 5 months once they're unlocked. But another thing that I love is that you can't just go out and buy these cards. And that kind of falls in with the other thing that I like about keeps you engaged in playing, is I can't just go out and be like, well, you know what? I want to go and I want to get myself that 3-star Izzyar, so I can just go ahead and I'll just throw some money at the game until I can go and I can buy that 3-star Izzyar, you know, because I want to be able to have a Martyr Izzyar. Now, that is bad for new players, but at the same time, from the perspective of, hey, you know what? It's actually special when I get one of these cards. It's actually like, yes, it's a cause for celebration when you get a card that you need. I think that in itself has value, right? Instead of it just being like, oh hum, I want to go and I heard Dark Dead Blast was really good, so I'll just go and I'm just gonna go and I'll just buy myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Dark Dead Blast to get it up to 3-star. I'll just throw some money at Dark Dead Blast. I like the fact that you can't just buy it, and I like the fact that that these cards are things you have to work for, and you have to endure, like I said, that RNG to get the cards that you want. Now, it's a bit controversial because, like I said, I both love and hate the RNG. Now, something that I hate about the Soulbound reward cards is the 18x unlock. I know that I've kind of talked about that already, and I do feel like it is way too expensive as well. From a player perspective, I know what they're trying to say about the economy and trying to make the value of the reward cards still be equal to the value of like the cards within Rebellion, so that there's no like inflation that goes on the market and you can't just go and buy a bunch of cheap reward cards and that's all you have to buy without investing in other things, and it dilutes the value of every card because there's so many of them out there at so cheap that you don't have to buy anything and you can just use reward cards. Like, I understand the whole concept of why they want the 18x unlock, However, as a player, I want to be able to unlock these cards so that I can sell my extras on the market and buy the cards I need to play. Because I and a lot of other people, not everyone, of course, like there are people who are just extractors, but I and a lot of other people, we just want to play with the cards. And me being able to say, hey, you know what? I've got 2 extra Sorial of the Bale. I'm happy to go and for a reasonable unlock cost, take these guys, unlock them, put them on the market, sell them, then take that money and reinvest it into getting the 2 Musa Selines that I'm missing, you know, so I can go and I can get my Musa Celine up to a 4-star and keep that competitive. You know, you end up trading almost one reward card for another reward card. That an 18x unlock, unless you're somehow able to roll the profits from one of them into being able to unlock and buy another one of them, you're going to be constantly putting money into the unlock. And don't forget that 18x isn't just 18x, because if you're going to put the card on the market, now you've paid the 18x unlock fee, but you're not just going to list it for the 18x unlock, right? Because I mean, then you don't make anything on that. And I mean, the purpose of putting it on the market, when you put it on the market, is to, you know, make something on the card. Whatever your purposes and intentions are, what you're going to do with that, those funds when it sells, your purpose is to make something. So not only is it going to be the 18x unlock, but on top of that, there's the 6% seller's fees, right? The 4% that the company takes, and then the 2% burn, or whatever that equation is. I might have it wrong. So there's that 6% seller's fees. And then on top of that, so now you're at the 18x burn, you're at the 6% seller's fees. Then there's whatever you're going to want to make on it. So if the unlock fee is like, let's just go with a random number. Let's say the unlock fee for one of these guys ends up being like $5 or something like that. It's $5 to unlock Musa Celine. Well, on top of that, you've got the 6%, which is another 30 cents. So now you're at $5.30 pretty much as your baseline before you even make anything. And now let's say you're like, you know what? I want to double up on this. I'm just going to sell this Musa Celine for $10. Cool. You sold Musa Celine for $10. Now you've got $10. Now with that $10, I guess you could buy another one of these cards that someone else is going to list for $10, or you can roll 5 of those dollars into unlocking another card, putting that one on the market, selling that for your $10. Now you have a whole $10 after unlocking 2 full of these legendaries. Now that those costs could go up if you use vouchers to pay for 50%, entirely possible. But as long as you can trade one for another, I don't think it'll be that bad. But an 18x unlock is going to make it very difficult for the players. A 2x unlock is great for land and the staking DeFi system that there is there. But I feel like as a player who, I'm not going to be selling these cards except for 2 Sorrel of the Bales. I'm a pure buyer, basically. When you look at my account, I'm a pure buyer. I am going to need to just spend more than I should if the unlock was lower. And don't even get me started on what the unlock fees are going to be for things like this one old gold foil Izziar that I have just kicking around, that I was like, I'll be able to sell this gold foil Izziar and buy a bunch of the Soulbound reward cards that I need. At an 18x unlock, I can't even afford. You can see up here, I can't even afford to unlock them. Which does pose the interesting perspective of, is there just going to be a peer-to-peer marketplace? When it could be like, hey, you know what? I will buy your Izziar from you. I will pay the unlock fee as well as your profit so that you can afford to unlock the card and then transfer it over to me. I can actually see that happening as kind of like an alternate marketplace that begins to exist, is a P2P marketplace when they say, you know what, the unlock fee for this Izziar is going to be, let's just say $150 or something like that. Or I'm just inventing random numbers that seem kind of close. The unlock fee is going to be $150. I will give you $200. You unlock the Izziar, and that's going to cost you $150 of your dollars. You transfer me that Izziar, you keep the extra $50. I can see something like that happening on a peer-to-peer marketplace. But I'm not a big fan of it being 18x, because I was hoping to at least be able to roll a lot of the cards that I have into other cards, and now it's basically like I'm looking at a 2-for-1. I'll have to unlock a card and sell it, unlock a second card and sell it, and then between those 2 cards and the unlock fees, maybe I'll be able to get one more of the cards that I need. So from a player perspective who's just a buyer, it seems steep to me. But there is hope on the horizon. I do have something here from Matt. Now, I do want to say that Matt did say, FYI, I didn't say it would be for sure exactly 18x, just that that is what the baseline we should use. There are other factors to consider, like the work, the time, and the assets involved in earning the cards, for example, which to me makes sense because if you're comparing it to a pack, you don't really work for that pack. You click buy, you know? You don't have to have other assets. You don't have to have a full like $10,000 collection, for instance, in order to earn these Soulbound reward cards. No, you just click buy. And you don't really have to, unless you're botting, invest time into buying those assets like that pack. No, you just click buy. And the time and the cards that it took you to earn those Soulbound, that should at least, in my mind at least, be worth something. So I like how Matt said this. Hopefully it comes to fruition. It doesn't end up being an 18x. I don't know what the answer is. I feel like somewhere between the 4x and the 18x is probably appropriate. But again, I'm not a number cruncher guy. I want the cards to play with guy. Please don't charge me an arm and a leg to get something that is artificially increased in price because of the DEC burn mechanic behind it. I just want to be able to play, you know? And I think a lot of other players might feel the same way that I do. But that's one of the things that I don't like about reward cards right now. One of the other things I do love about Soulbound reward cards is the fact that they can give me a competitive advantage. And again, this goes back to one based on the RNG. If I end up being one of the lucky first players who ends up getting a Kulu Mastermind, for instance, that will give me a huge competitive advantage over someone who doesn't have a Kulu Mastermind. And not only that, but it could be like, whoa, that guy's got a Kulu Mastermind. I really want to get one of those. And it could keep the other players motivated or me motivated to continue to play to get these last 3 Kulu Masterminds, for instance, that I need to get it as a 4-star. And I know that those players who put in the time, the effort, the skills involved in order to earn more chests, and the RNG has blessed them with Kulu Masterminds, like, good for those guys for getting that competitive advantage. And the way that it will all even out in the end is with the unlock. When we can all unlock our Kulu Masterminds and our Izyars, then that will put us all on kind of a more balanced level, since you will be able to buy the cards. But until then, your time that you put in, the RNG, and the amount of chests that you earn and everything like that, based on your card quality and your deck collection and everything, they all have an impact on getting you that competitive advantage. Since, going back to point 2 of the things I like, you can't just buy these cards. They have to be earned through play, which is these and Gladiator cards are the only things right now that have to be earned through play, which I think is a great motivator to keep people playing and not just have everyone go and stake on the great DeFi system that is land. You can tell I'm a little negative about land. I got nothing really against it, but I don't want to just click collect. I want to get in there and do my battles, you know? All right. Now, one of the negatives that goes along with that is not having one of those key cards that you need. So a lot of this list is the positive is also the negative, you know? So the negative is not having one of those key cards that you need in order to be competitive. So in this case, there's a few that I can show you in my collection. I don't have my Skok Dustblight up to the point when it has 3 magic attack to really make good use of that weapon training, right? Because now the weapon training can go up to 3. Having a Skok with 3 is going to be so good for like your Riftwing and your Chaos Agent, way better than having only a Skok with 2 attack. So at the same point, I don't like not having that competitive advantage. The other side of the coin flip, right? Positives and negatives. I don't like not being able to have my Usit have healing like I talked about. And you guys who watch the show all the time know that every time reward chests come up and it's end of season, I'm always saying, please just give me that 1-star Usit. And it's funny because I say, don't make it gold foil. For the love of God, don't give me a gold foil Usit. I will lose my mind if the Usit that I open is gold foil. Oh man, like, I don't want gold foil Usit. I need just one plain old regular Usit, you know? So a negative is not having the cards that you need to be competitive. Same with Musa Celine here. Like, don't give me a gold foil Musa Celine. I need 2 Reggie Musa Celines to be able to get that second attack so I can actually get through Void when I'm playing against like an opposing Jin O'Shaughnessy or an opposing Void Dragon or something like that, right? So getting the cards so not having the cards you need to be competitive, which again, that problem is solved when you can unlock, and hopefully the unlock will be at a reasonable price for players. Like, players need to be considered, I feel, in this as well. And players who don't have like endless pockets, like some people might say, oh, just spend the money. Well, that's nice, but that's not an economic reality for a lot of us. A lot of us were playing with the intentions of getting the Soulbound to roll them into other Soulbound. So there we go. That's my little speech on that 18x. Let's see if I got any more to talk about with the 18x. All right. So my number one thing though that I like about this is these reward cards. They reward you, and I'm going to quote Dwayne here, for the time and the attention that you put into the game. Unlike so many other games, so unlike Magic Arena, where you put in some funds, you got a great deck, you're playing your deck, but in the end, what do you have? You got nothing at the end of the day. You got an account, and once you log out for that final time, you got nothing to show for it. You got really only the digital assets that can't come with you anywhere else. They can't be sold. You got nothing, right? You play Hearthstone. You buy a bunch of packs in Hearthstone. At the end of the day, those Hearthstone cards, same thing. There were nothing. Your time and your attention, meanwhile, in Splinterlands has resulted in you earning these Kulu Masterminds. And even if the unlock is 18x, you can still pay the 18x, put it on the market, and eke out with some meager rewards if your intention was to just sell. So I love the fact that your time, your attention, the skill that you put into the game and the deck building do reward you with these Soulbound reward cards, and with SPS, I guess. I mean, I'm not an SPS maxi type person. I don't really care about the SPS, aside from I have to rent less SPS now. But I'm all about getting these cards that you get to play with and you get to use in your deck in order to be more competitive and grow your collection. And eventually, when unlock comes, we'll have some value, which is a totally different concept from so many other games out there. And I'm looking at you, Magic Arena. I'm looking at you, Hearthstone. I'm looking at you, other Web 2 games that you put in the cash, you get the enjoyment out of it. Don't get me wrong, you get the enjoyment, but that's it. There's no value that comes with it. And there is value with the time and attention you put into these Soulbound reward cards. And finally, the last thing that I don't like about the Soulbound reward cards is it does provide a disadvantage to newer players. Something else that's rectified with being able to unlock them. But if a new player were to come into the game right now and they were to say, gee, I really like that Aves Sturgis. I'm an owl guy. I love owls. I really wish I could get Aves Sturgis because he looks really cool. Look at him. He's got that staff. He's got those cool chubby little legs. And yeah, I mean, I just love it. I just love his look even. They wouldn't be able to get Aves. They wouldn't be able to play Aves. They wouldn't be able to be competitive with Aves. They wouldn't be able to get him at all. So the disadvantage of all this whole thing, again, until it's unlocked, whatever the cost may be to unlock, is that new players are not going to be able to get these cards right away, which does put them at that competitive disadvantage, which is another one of the advantages, until they're able to earn the Soulbound reward cards. Now, there was some discussion about dusting cards, which if you look at, I think it's Hearthstone, and you look at other games like that, you can take cards that you have too many of, you can turn them into dust or powder or something like that, and then you can use that powder to craft the cards that you need. So I can totally see something like that being implemented into this game in regard to the Soulbound cards. This is like point 11, the bonus point, dusting, the possibilities, right? However, I don't feel like dust should be something that you can buy from like Splinterlands, the developer, like the game. As long as dust isn't on the market, and dust itself is also soulbound, I feel like that would be a great way for new players or existing players to be like, you know what? I got 3 of these Avas, and I have 0 Izyars, and I know that Izyar is better, and I know that on a 3-to-1 basis, if I were to burn 3 Avas into dust, that would give me enough dust to buy an Izyar, and I can see that if when unlock actually comes, that they give the option, instead of unlocking, to also dust cards and use that Soulbound dust to get whatever cards that you need. Because at that point, you will have already had the competitive advantage. You have already endured the RNG. They would have already gone through the life cycle of that reward set. At that point in time, you can buy the cards on the market. So at that point in time, in my mind at least, it's safe for you to then be able to dust these cards to be able to get the cards that you personally want to play with, instead of being stuck with a dozen Aves and not having your Izzyar being able to martyr. So there we go, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Those are my top 5 likes and my top 5 dislikes for these Soulbound reward cards. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds, what the next set of these reward cards hold. Are they still going to be Soulbound? Will they not be Soulbound? Will it still hold the 18x multiplier? Will bots still exist, even causing them to be Soulbound? Who knows? But for the time being, those are my likes. Those are my dislikes. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. And until next time, it's I, the Psy. See you guys soon. Peace!